This video is going to look at section 8.4, and this will give us an overview of the endocrine system. And the endocrine system, it consists of glands and tissues that secrete hormones. And what are hormones? Well, hormones are chemicals that affect the behavior of other glands or tissues. And they can act on sites that are far away from the sites of their actual production by being carried in the bloodstream. Some hormones are not carried in the bloodstream, and they will affect neighboring cells, and those are referred to as local hormones. The functions of hormones, of course, to maintain homeostasis, and they're involved in the body's response to stress. Also, they act on the brain to influence behavior, and they promote cell division and mitosis. And those are growth factors that will do that. Endocrine glands, they secrete the hormones into tissue fluid, and the hormones then diffuse into the bloodstream for distribution throughout the body. So here's a diagrammatic representation of the different endocrine glands and their location, and they're labeled and named there as well, so you can see where they are. Obviously, the ones within the brain there, that's a cross section of the brain. You can see them there. So the pituitary gland, the hypothalamus, and the pineal gland. And then the other ones are, you have the thyroid gland in the neck, and then the other glands located as indicated. And of course, the difference between the male and female glands are depicted there as well. So here's a very good summary of the different endocrine glands, their name, and the hormones that they release, the chemical class, and their target tissue and organ, and the chief function of the particular hormone. Now, unfortunately, you do need to know these, and this is probably going to be the most time-consuming part of the entire chapter is learning these. There's really no shortcut to it, and so you will need to spend the time to know the names of the glands, the hormones that they release, and the chemical class of them, and their target tissue, and their function. Some of them we have looked at before, and so several of them will be familiar to you, but there's really no shortcut to learning all of these. So you will need to know the hypothalamus then, which releases the hypothalamic releasing and hypothalamic inhibiting hormones, and its target is the anterior pituitary, and that then regulates the anterior pituitary hormones. The pituitary gland itself, then, also known as the master gland, because of all of the different hormones that it produces, and many of them have effects on other endocrine glands, actually, and so they actually control the production of other endocrine glands and hormones. So you have the posterior pituitary, which produces ADH, or antidiuretic hormone, which acts on the kidneys, which stimulates water reabsorption, and oxytocin, which acts on the uterus and mammary glands, and it stimulates uterine muscle contraction and release of milk by the mammary glands. And then you have the anterior pituitary, which produces all of these different types of hormones. So you have TSH, or thyroid stimulating hormone, which obviously stimulates the thyroid. And then you have ACTH, or adrenocorticotropic hormone, which stimulates the cortex of the adrenal gland. Then you have the gonadotropic hormones, which is FSH and LH. FSH stands for a follicle stimulating hormone, and then LH is a luteinizing hormone. And the target organs are the gonads here, and the function then is to produce eggs and sperm, as well as sex hormone production. Prolactin has its effect on the mammary glands for milk production after giving birth. Growth hormone that promotes cell division, protein synthesis, and bone growth. And then melanocyte stimulating hormone that acts on the melanocytes in the skin. And its function is kind of unknown in the humans, actually, but it regulates skin color in lower vertebrates. Then we have the thyroid hormones, which we have talked about before, T3 and T4. These are iodinated amino acids, and they increase metabolic rate and regulate growth and development. Calcitonin we've seen before, which lowers blood calcium level. And then we have parathyroid hormone from the parathyroid glands, which raises blood calcium level. And then we have the adrenal cortex, which we have looked at before, where you have the glucocorticoids, which raise blood glucose level and stimulate breakdown of protein. We have the mineralocorticoids, which cause the reabsorption of sodium and excrete potassium at the kidneys. Then the sex hormones, which the target organs are the gonads, the skin, muscles, and the bones, stimulate reproductive organs and bring about sex characteristics, as in the mature sex characteristics in the male and the female. And then we have the adrenal medulla, which we've come across before, which produces epinephrine and norepinephrine, and this is released in emergency situations. Again, here's the flight or fight situation, and raises blood glucose levels. With the pancreas, we have insulin produced, which lowers blood glucose level and promotes formation of glycogen. And then we have glucagon, which raises blood glucose levels. And then we have the sex hormones, so androgens, or testosterone in the male to stimulate the mature male sex characteristics. And then estrogens and progesterone produced by the ovaries in the female, and again to stimulate the mature female sex characteristics. The thymus then produces the thymosins, and this stimulates production and maturation of the T lymphocytes. And then finally we have the pineal gland, produces melatonin, which controls the circadian and circannual rhythms. Circadian meaning the sort of the daily biorhythms that we all undergo, as in cycles of sleep and eating and those kinds of things, possibly involved in the maturation of the sexual organs as well. So hormones then secreted by the endocrine system, they must reach their target organs by way of the blood. So this results in a slower but more prolonged response compared to that of the nervous system. So we've talked about that before, where the nervous system has a very rapid response, very, very rapid in most instances, whereas the endocrine system operates over a much longer period of time and is much slower to respond. So the production of hormones then is controlled in two ways, either negative feedback or on the action of other hormones. So the negative feedback regulation then, an endocrine gland can be sensitive to either the condition it is regulating or the blood level of the hormone that it produces. So for example, with blood glucose rises, causes the pancreas to produce insulin, which thereby reduces the blood glucose level, and insulin causes liver then to store glucose, causing glucose removal from the blood. So the stimulus of insulin production is inhibited, and then the pancreas stops producing insulin. So other hormones, regulating hormones, the effect of a hormone can be controlled by the release of an antagonistic hormone. So the effect of insulin can be offset by the production of the hormone glucagon, also produced by the pancreas. So insulin lowers blood sugar level, while glucagon raises it. So again, here's the key terms and the key concepts which we looked at in this section. And once again, the most time-consuming part of this then will be to learn all of the different hormones that are produced by which particular gland, and the effect that each one has on the body.